When we use the word resilience in our workplace, we can often use it as a buzzword, and we can bring in practices that don't actually expand emotional resilience. In emotional intelligence, there are a few skills that actually relate to our capacity to be resilient in emotions. And one of them is our emotional self-awareness, particularly around our ability to accurately name our emotions. Because here's the thing, if we name an emotion with a word that is a heightened type of word, a word that is much more intense than what we're actually feeling, our brain will use that word to attach meaning to the experience we're having. And as soon as that meaning is attached based on our vocabulary, our physiology will adjust to match the word. So for example, if I'm experiencing anger or a version of anger, and my vocabulary around emotions is limited, so I simply use the word pissed off or I'm angry, then my physiology will adapt to the word that I've used. Now, if I use reality testing and come inward and assess what level of anger am I actually at, and in my assessment, I come to the revelation that I'm actually agitated, not angry. The physiology or physiological response to agitated is much different than the physiological response to anger. And so when I appropriately name as I'm agitated, my physiology will only slightly change rather than when I use anger and then my physiology changes quite a bit from that. My heart rate, my blood pressure, my cheeks might flush. Whereas in agitated, I might just notice that I have a slightly elevated form of energy that buzzes through my chest. So resilience in agitated means I have the capacity to flex and adjust and self-master that emotion perhaps better than if I use the word angry, which inaccurately names it. It's harder for me to self-manage that emotion as soon as I've given it a label. The other part that comes into play with our resilience is our proactive strategies, the things that we do to build up our capacity to be in difficult emotions more often, but also our capacity to not be triggered emotionally as heightened. And those proactive things are under the skill of self-actualization. What do we dedicate our time and energy to that really gives a reciprocal return on well-being? The greater our well-being, the easier it is for us to be emotionally resilient, meaning things don't trigger us in a negative way. As much as if we weren't self-actualizing, we weren't in states of well-being, then we would be much more easily triggered. So this week, one of the things you can do in your emotional intelligence skill development is consider those two elements. First, the accuracy of naming your emotions, and second, how you are proactively contributing to your states of well-being.